Zhongnanhai, the heart of power in Beijing, is entering its most dramatic and tense phase yet. At this level, nothing happens by chance. Every gesture, every calculated appearance, every figure emerging at a particular moment is a chess piece deliberately positioned on the board of strategy at a critical juncture. On August 20th, Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping surfaced in Lhasa, Tibet, to attend the 60th anniversary of the founding of the Tibet Autonomous Region. For seasoned observers, the trip was drenched in political signals. The most striking, the unexpected reemergence of Hu Chunhua, the once-disgraced crown prince. His presence alone seemed to reset the balance of the political landscape. This dramatic backdrop came just days after a swirl of rumors. On August 14th, word spread like wildfire through Beijing's corridors of power and across overseas Chinese communities that Xi had been rushed to Beijing's elite 301 hospital after suffering another stroke. Whispers even claimed top doctors from Shanghai were summoned overnight, a detail suggesting just how serious the situation was. And yet, astonishingly, by August 20th, the very same man, reportedly fresh out of stroke treatment, suddenly appeared on the high-altitude stage of Lhasa, standing 3,600 meters above sea level. What kind of message was Xi trying to send? Find out in today's China Unfiltered. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us. Stood frozen for 20 minutes. Xi Jinping's Tibet struggle exposed. First, his physical conditions spoke louder than words. According to the Epoch Times, citing insider accounts, Xi's arrival at Gongar Airport was carefully choreographed. After disembarking, he stood frozen for nearly 20 minutes before inching forward in slow, deliberate steps. His health team had reportedly advised this tactic to reduce the risk of acute altitude sickness by letting his body gradually adapt to Lhasa's thin air. But the strain was impossible to hide. Observers saw him leaning heavily on his left leg, his right leg dragging slightly, his stride shortened, and at times his whole body seemed to sway. Speculation over his health surged. Adding fuel, state broadcaster CCTV deliberately cut out the footage of Xi stepping off the plane, showing only a staged wave at the aircraft stairs before shifting abruptly to cheering crowds, then to Xi shaking hands with officials. Meanwhile, footage of other senior leaders, Wang Huning, Kai Chi, Li Ganji, He Lifeng, Wang Xiaohong, Jiang Shengmin, and others, walking down the steps remained untouched, highlighting the unusual nature of the edit. Later, during his meetings with sector representatives, CCTV cameras revealed something even more telling. Xi's face appeared swollen, with heavy puffiness under the eyes, eyelids so bloated they seemed barely able to open. Even when walking indoors, his body wavered, his movements slow and unsteady. Sources emphasized another stark contrast. Compared with his 2021 Tibet visit, this trip was conspicuously shortened. In Lhasa, he confined himself to listening to a work report, giving a short speech, and meeting hand-picked delegates. Gone were the scenes of close interaction with ordinary citizens. 4 years earlier, Xi's energy had seemed far stronger. He toured Ningxi's wetlands, inspected urban planning projects, visited Gala village, and mingled with crowds on Barkor Street in Lhasa, directly engaging the public in a lively display of vigor. This time, Xi could endure only 24 hours in Tibet before rushing back to Beijing. The risks of Lhasa's altitude only sharpened the picture. At 3,650 meters, a high-altitude medicine specialist explained, blood oxygen saturation for ordinary people often dips below 90%, a level that can trigger dizziness, fatigue, or even heart rhythm disorders. For the elderly, or those with chronic conditions, standing still or walking slowly upon arrival is a well-known medical precaution. Taken together, Xi's carefully managed appearance in Tibet revealed two things at once: the toll of age and illness on China's top leader, and the CCP's determination to project political stability, even when the cracks are plain for all to see. As Xi's last gamble collapses, the hidden succession plan moves into gear. So why did Xi Jinping push himself to the brink? Why risk his life in such a way? Commentator Zhang Feng offered a chilling answer. If Xi had skipped this trip, if he had shown even the slightest weakness, it would have been tantamount to signing his own death warrant. The real power brokers inside Zhongnanhai would have wasted no time in activating the succession plan already drafted for him. Xi himself may not have long to last, but the party cannot afford even a single day without a figurehead at the top. Their solution was cold and ruthless in its logic. Send someone alongside him, someone who could stabilize the stage or step in immediately if Xi collapsed. That someone was Hu Chunhua. Yet as the old saying goes, man proposes, heaven disposes. Xi's final gamble buckled under the brutal reality of Tibet's thin air. The plateau suffocated his last hope. Within just 24 hours he was forced into a hasty retreat back to Beijing, and as Xi's plane disappeared into the skies, the men left behind in Tibet did not pause to pray for his recovery. They moved instantly, activating a contingency plan long prepared. And it wasn't about stability, it was about war. A leader's health crisis could appear to Beijing's rivals as the perfect window to strike. If India miscalculated and advanced along the tense border with Tibet, where the two countries share a volatile frontier, while China appeared leaderless, the consequences would be catastrophic. So they seized the war machine and launched a frantic, pre-battle mobilization. Zhang Feng pointed to Xinhua's August 23 report as the proof. The dispatch about officials splitting into 6 directions was no inspection tour. It was a war cabinet assignment sheet. Every man was sent to his most critical battlefield. Wang Huning was dispatched to Dingri to check the supply lines. Li Ganji went to Ngari, the fortress along the Sino-Indian frontier, an area of extreme military importance. Jiang Guoqing traveled to Chamdo to take stock of energy, the lifeblood of modern war, and also to survey one of Tibet's most critical transport hubs. And Hu Chunhua? He was sent to Ningxi, officially to inspect the Sichuan-Tibet Railway. But as Jiang Feng revealed, in reality it was a crash course in wartime logistics. The railway is the strategic artery of any potential conflict with India. His mission was urgent and unmistakable. Learn fast, secure the transport routes, ensure troops and supplies could move without disruption to the front, and be prepared to act as coordinator if the unthinkable happened. Hu Chunhua's YAJIANG visit signals a step up. The latest details below only deepen the impression that Hu Chunhua is being positioned to step up as Xi Jinping's replacement. According to the Vision Times, in a stunning twist, it was Hu, not Xi, who was dispatched to inspect the YAJIANG hydropower station in Sichuan. This is no ordinary project. YAJIANG is one of the most politically symbolic and weighty undertakings in the entire region. Commentator Tang Jingyuan stressed that this was far from a routine visit. It carried a clear political signal. Hu Chunhua's status inside the party has been elevated. In the CCP's political theater, when a leader is assigned to inspect a flagship project, it marks a direct link between that leader and the project. The YAJIANG hydropower project was first written into national planning in 2003. By contrast, Hu's only Tibet posting was in 1992, when he served just 9 months as deputy commissioner in Ningxi. He had no historic tie to YAJIANG at all. And yet he was chosen to go. The symbolism was unmistakable. Tang said, the CCP would never casually assign such a high-profile project to someone already sidelined. For Hu Chunhua, to be given YAJIANG means his political stock is rising. But the choice is even more striking for another reason. YAJIANG was a project personally greenlit by Xi Jinping. By all logic, if Xi were in Tibet, this was the project he should have showcased as his own achievement. And if his health kept him away, he should have delegated the spotlight to one of his most trusted lieutenants, figures like CPPCC Chairman Wang Huning, Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing, or Vice Premier He Lifeng, to reinforce that the project was still firmly under his control. Yet none of these men were sent. Instead, it was the deposed crown prince, Hu Chunhua. Once groomed as Hu Jintao's successor and a key figure in the Communist Youth League faction, Hu was later suppressed by Xi, who worked systematically to weaken the league. And the world still remembers October 22, 2022, when Hu Jintao himself was abruptly escorted out of the closing session of the CCP's 20th Party Congress by Xi's men. That extraordinary moment was seen as a deliberate, humiliating display of Xi's dominance over Hu Jintao, and by extension, Hu Chunhua. Now, less than 3 years later, Hu Chunhua is the one standing at YAJIANG. In that moment, he not only eclipsed Wang Huning but also overshadowed Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing. This shows clearly who is rising, who is losing ground, and who is falling. Does Hu Chunhua's sudden prominence reflect the resurgence of anti-Xi forces? And if Wang Huning and Zhang Guoqing are being pushed aside, does this signal that Xi himself is losing control? Isn't it obvious that Hu Jintao's Communist Youth League faction is now gaining the upper hand? And if this reasoning is correct, it only strengthens the argument that the true power in Zhongnanhai does not lie with Xi Jinping, but rather with a council of party elders, as rumors have long suggested. Hu Jintao, the former general secretary, Zhang Yuxia, vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, and Zheng Qinghong, former Politburo Standing Committee member, once the right-hand man of former CCP leader Jiang Zemin, widely regarded as the security czar with an extensive network of influence. Commentator Zhou Xiaohui, writing in overseas media, argued the timing is telling. In the wake of rumors abroad that Hu Chunhua could replace Xi as party general secretary at the 4th plenum this October, such an arrangement looks far too deliberate to be coincidence. Zhou also pointed to Hu Chunhua's increasingly bold public posture. From his earlier high-profile reappearances to his latest trip to Ningxi, where Xi and Premier Li Qiang had both previously gone, Hu spoke not like a sidelined official, but in the voice of a leader. He declared, "Ningxi's economy and social undertakings have made great progress, and the overall society is harmonious and stable." Put together, the picture couldn't be clearer. Xi Jinping, weakened and gasping for air on the Tibetan plateau, lasted only 24 hours before fleeing back to Beijing, while party elders quietly moved to activate a wartime contingency plan. Now, Hu Chunhua's sudden elevation at YAJIANG suggests that the very succession blueprint Xi most feared has already been set in motion. The pressing question is whether China has already stepped into the opening chapter of the post-Xi era. The 4th plenary session, slated for Beijing this October, may deliver the answer. Toilet revolution erupts in Beijing. Anti-CCP slogans shake the parade. As the Chinese Communist Party prepares for its September 3rd military parade, an unexpected storm has erupted online. Beijing is said to be facing a full-blown toilet revolution. Reports claim anti-CCP slogans have suddenly appeared inside public restrooms across the capital. Some read, "The CCP should have collapsed long ago. 100 years of slavery must be overthrown." Others declared, "Dictator step down, and China wants democracy and rule of law." According to the Vision Times, the authorities' reaction was pure panic. Rumors now swirl that in Beijing's core districts, Dongcheng, Xicheng, and Chaoyang, public toilets have been placed under real name registration, forcing citizens to scan with WeChat or Alipay just to open the door. On August 25th, ex-user Liu Yuanyang posted that one Beijing restroom carried the slogan, 93 sword points at Xi Jinping. He noted that under suffocating censorship, citizens are inventing new channels to speak out, and restrooms are quietly becoming the front line of hidden resistance. This sudden wave of restroom graffiti reflects a deeper frustration building nationwide. In Hangzhou, Zhejiang, after the fecal water incident contaminated the city's tap supply, strict censorship left residents with no way to speak. Toilets became protest walls. One observer calculated, Hangzhou has 15 million people, at least 10,000 public toilets. With 10 stalls each, that's 100,000 stalls. To monitor them all, you'd need 100,000 police officers. Online, the reaction was biting and sarcastic. Some joked that Xi Jinping's only real achievement in 13 years was building public toilets. Others mocked that cameras would probably be installed in stalls. And many warned that absurdity was reaching new heights, government spending was spiraling out of control, and collapse was only a matter of time. But this is not the first toilet revolution. Since 2018, the wave has resurfaced across China. Voice of America reported on June 23, 2023, that the term toilet revolution did not begin with Xi Jinping's 2015 initiative to renovate restrooms, but in 2018 after the tainted vaccine scandals that outraged parents nationwide. In children's hospitals from Beijing to Shanghai, desperate families scrawled messages like "Overthrow the CCP" and "Down with the Communist Party." That spark of 2018 ignited a chain of defiance that never disappeared. One of the most striking moments came in October 2022, when Peng Zhejiao unfurled his banner on Beijing's Sitong Bridge. Just weeks later, the white paper movement swept across Chinese cities and overseas campuses. Countless other acts of resistance have followed, each reflecting the anger of Chinese citizens crushed under CCP rule. Every act was wiped from official news, buried in silence, and met with harsh repression. Yet the silence cannot hold forever. Each act of defiance, one person falls, another rises, chips away at the crumbling wall of the CCP, a wall destined to collapse. That's all for today's episode. If you found this story insightful, share your thoughts in the comment section and let us know what you think about the topic. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for staying tuned. We'll see you next time.